everyone, I'm Allison Zisco from Home Accents today, and I'm here on behalf of ART. I am with Rebecca Miller of Artful Communications and Omagio Studio. Hi, Rebecca. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Allison. Thanks for asking me back.
Of course. So in part one, you talked about how to inspire and motivate a product development team. And in this session, part two, you're going to talk about how to engage your audience and market
Great. And how to market with to them as well. So that'll
it.
be great. Thank you. I'm going to screen share and we'll get started.
Very good. Thank you.
So part two is about engagement and marketing. To recap, in part one, we looked at your talent pool individually and collectively, the resources needed to expand intellectual curiosity and drive inspiration, and exercises for designers to achieve mastery. Keep in mind that while I refer to designers as the audience who most likely will watch these talk sessions, the process, principles, and methodologies apply to all of your workforces. So simply change the vocabulary, the directives, and experiences to align with each job family and their respective deliverables. Today, we're going to focus on 4 critical steps that will provide a process for audience insight, engagement, and how to effectively market and measure for results. The process, as I spoke about in part one, remains crucial. When I refer to aperture, I'm referring to insight, data, facts, how well you see, know, and understand and apply these learnings to your product development and marketing efforts. By following this methodology, you increase your engagement with your audience and have a higher probability of repeatable, sustainable revenue growth. So to begin, you need to know your audiences. And yes, you have at least 3. The current audience are those that are active purchasers on your accounts, not just people that have open accounts. The lost are those that have either stopped buying from you or have reduced their spend with you. And I'm really not referring to financial reasons, not because of a slowdown in the market, because that answer does not help your business. They are buying something from someone. And then, of course, the third is your desirable or your target audience. Who's the next ideal customer that you'd like to acquire? So when you're looking at engagement, it's important to verify, assume nothing. It is critical that we quantify your audience's engagement. Unless we know exactly where your audience's engagement is, you're flying blind. The most important thing we need to know is how strong the relationship is with your brand and how sustainable it is. The second most important thing is that we quantify your audience's engagement. That means using numerical measurements. The third most important thing is we measure the drivers of your relationship with your audiences. Drivers are the relationship characteristics that are most important to your audiences. For example, it could be transparency or communication. It might be responsiveness and keeping promises. But drivers are the differentiators of your relationships. They're what make you distinctive. So if it is strong, then why is it strong? And what are the drivers that are working? If a relationship is weak, then why is it weak? And what are the drivers that are not working? The drivers tell you what to improve. Now you can see why you never want to start a project or a design assignment until you've understood your current engagement with your audiences, because you are going to invest time and money in things that don't matter instead of the things that do matter. Let's talk about investment and a little word of advice here. Don't spend money on research unless you are committed for improvement. Again, don't spend money on research unless you are committed to improvement. This is where brands waste money. They say they're interested in learning more about their audiences, but they aren't mainly just curious, and they have no strategy as to how to effectively use the intelligence towards improvement. So there are 4 steps in this process that I'd like to review with you. The first is research. The second is creative. The third is connect. And the fourth is measure. So we'll look at this in a little more depth. Research complexity. The relationship we have with our clients has grown exceedingly complex because the audiences have access to so much information that they didn't have before. So, for example, social media. Because as a brand, you have little control about the dialogue and conversation about your brand. The greatest example of investing in a strategy before confirming engagement, I think, was the Bud Light debacle. They did not understand how reaching out to a new audience would offend a core audience. The approach, that's why your research needs to be focused on the relationship drivers. And here's how we do it. First, establish the overall strength of a relationship by having them rate their likelihood to refer you to a peer. Second, ask ask them to rate their opinion of how strong you are in each of your drivers. The reason this simple design is so powerful is many customers will give you a high overall rating, but rate you weak on some initial key drivers. These are the cracks in your dam. They are not being hurt. They may not be hurting you yet, but they will. The next is creative storytelling. So produce intelligent creative storytelling comprised of messages and words and visuals that are laser focused on the critical drivers that need attention to strengthen your brand's relationships. In this way, you dramatically distinguish your brand. Connect with your audience's preferences. Position your creative content in the media that connects with and reaches the highest concentration of each of your brand's audiences. The insights you capture during research will direct which platforms they interact with to better focus your marketing efforts. And of course, last, you want to measure. You need to measure for your ROI. There is no point investing cash on improvement unless it impacts your financial performance. So once you've completed securing your target audience's research and understanding their drivers, complete the market research on your competition in the industry. Now, most brands do part 2 and 3 really well, but it's crucial to understand your consumer base from the onset. They should lead and drive your decisions. The insights you captured eliminate assumptions and guesswork, producing laser-focused solutions. You now have an accelerated baseline from which to begin to design product that engages your audiences and captures your design language. Keep in mind that the term design also incorporates deliverables like ads, programs, policies, marketing campaigns, your product mix, pop-ups, retails, etc. An effective way to differentiate your brand's products is through designs that provide stories to draw your audiences closer to your brand's language is through what I call derivatives. So you can see the mushrooms on the left side, the little lampshades above the birds and the mat are made out of mushrooms. And the piece on the right is, they were a pair of 2 one-ton phoenixes. A very large bank in China commissioned an artist to create 2 phoenixes for them to go in front of the bank building. And when the artist was done, they refused to pay him or put them up because he decided to use the trash that surrounded the building because there was such a contrast between this big, magnificent building and all the trash that laid around it. So he took it on a worldwide tour instead. So when I speak of derivatives, this is a rug design that's a derivative of the 2 phoenixes that you just saw. The story is so captivating. It's an ideal product that be offered as a limited edition. So marketing elements, there are 5 key elements to engaging and marketing to your audiences. Research, to know precisely who your audiences are and what they desire in their home furnishings. High quality professional photography to position your products in the best manner to inspire and to begin the process of engagement. Compelling storytelling is to engage your audience in the evolution of your product from inspiration to their final state using your design language. Transparency, to use your research to meet the wants of your audiences from your brand. And last but not least, and you'll hear me say this a lot, creating a dialogue, not a monologue, to demonstrate that you're listening to and you value your audiences by providing opportunities for them to participate with your brand in a two-way conversation. To be successful, the 5 key elements, you must implement them by knowing your brand language. Maintaining a consistent brand language allows you to achieve 3 key objectives: recognition, trust, and personality. The second is be consistent and coherent. Use the same elements and standards across all your touch points, your website, your social media, packaging, advertising. Be distinctive and recognizable. Have a unique and memorable identity that sets you apart from your competitors and is easily identifiable to your audiences to evoke positive associations and emotions. Be flexible and adaptive. Your identity must apply to different formats and platforms that evolve and respond to changing market trends, customer needs, and business goals. And last, be authentic and engaging. Be true to your brand's story, their values and promise that resonates with your audiences and encourages them to interact and connect with your brand, building trust and loyalty. The next is engagement. And now that you have an understanding of your audiences, your marketing needs to create a dialogue, not a monologue with them. So a dialogue is a two-way conversation. A monologue is a one-way communication. To begin, recognize the evolving home furnishings luxury market by defining and redefining its main trending currency, which today is desire. Luxury's image is shifting to become more inviting, humane, creative, and subtle, and most of all, engaging. I mention luxury customers because historically, their shopping and brand expectations quickly trend to high-end and mid-tier markets. It's important to know and make the distinction between marketing to gain attention, as shown in this image, and marketing for transactions. It's fine to do both if you don't expect revenue from attention marketing. We know the shift to product control from manufacturer to retailer impacted every aspect of the home furnishings business. It brought on lower margins, which made a reduction of monies to invest in marketing to build brands. The shifts have made social media the best affordable option for marketing. This evolution called for brands to adapt new strategies, leading to greater investment in the back end of marketing materials. One successful strategy was customization systems, allowing for greater options, taking the guesswork out of inventory levels and allowing for stronger relationships between a brand's audiences and the audience's clients. If an audience group, for example, is passionate about cars, create imagery and open up a dialogue for all to interact. So whether you're marketing with real product or through AI, perhaps in this instance, invite a car enthusiast historian to participate. Expand how they see your products. Consider using AI or another image source to compare and contrast. And here we have an AI futuristic car that was designed from Zaza Hadid's design language. This is where design language is really important. Marketing personalities. People of influence and accomplishment draw their followers to a brand that they appreciate and enjoy. Who you elect to engage for your brand will depend on your audience research and your budget. Digital technology. The objective of effective marketing is to engage and create a dialogue, as I've mentioned. The progression of engagement and dialogue used to be face-to-face interaction. You go to a store, you see a person face-to-face. Then we moved to cell phones, and today the dialogue is digital. So digital technology has changed all of this. It's not just enough today to be visible. You have to use the technology to engage your audience and again, create this dialogue. For example, we're using a webinar today. 20 years ago, they would have had a lunch meeting, a monthly lunch meeting. So ask yourself if your current technology is engaging your audience and conducting a dialogue with them. If it isn't, you're already behind. Videos and webinars are just a great medium for social media. They provide visual and audio communication, stimulation, and engagement. They allow for more comprehensive ways to tell a compelling story and work well for cross-marketing, which has become a new norm in luxury goods and services. I'd like to share with you today an example of exactly what I'm describing. It's Todd's, the Italian shoe company, partnering with La Scala, which is the famous Italian opera house in Milan. And it artistically illustrates the making of a driving shoe. These are two disparate products, but they complement one another perfectly in an engaging and dramatic video. As you watch this video, think about the product or based in other industries could unexpectedly complement your designs, ranging from raw materials to manufacturing to your final state of the product and the enjoyment of ownership. Here we have the cutting of the leather. Now we have the cutting out of the famous holes in the bottom of the driving shoe. And now we have the popping of the rubber studs through the base. And now we move on to the stitching. I think you begin to see the idea that I'm trying to describe is what other industries or other products could you partner with and create sort of this experiential video together, or some other marketing tool that works for your audiences. I think you get the idea. I'm going to move on. Great video. So then I talk a lot about brand language. This is where high quality photography is absolutely critical. Steinway, as you may well know, sells world-class pianos. Shown as a one-of-a-kind giltwood piano that was made in the late 1700s, early 1800s, and they coupled it with a nod to a world-class composer, Beethoven, for his Moonlight Sonata and the famous piano piece, creating a compelling marketing ad for the seller and the buyer. The imagery represents Steinway's brand language, bringing photography and their product together in an unexpected image. This is a perfect example where Steinway knew their audiences, affluent musicians, music lovers, antique collectors. The value and rarity of the piece, it's a one of a kind, and where and how they should market the piano to secure the best price. In this case, they used Christie's auction house in London because they had a robust list of buyers, and it would also be on their website. I'd like to share a couple other examples now of brands that I think do an exceptional job with all that we've discussed with audience and marketing. This one is Veuve Clicquot. Madame Clicquot was a widow at 27 who took control of her destiny, becoming one of the first modern entrepreneurs. She assumed the head of the company founded by her father-in-law in 1722, when a woman was excluded from businesses. She revolutionized the champagne industry and saved it from ruination during the Napoleonic War. The widow brought her passion and innovation forward. So today, their product is being marketed online and in retail stores. They use print, books, videos, tastings, and events. They have collaborations with designers in the upper left-hand corner, limited editions. They have events called Garden Gastronomy, where they've engaged chefs that share their same philosophy. And probably most importantly, they have a women's entrepreneurial support called BOLD. It's a program designed to help improve inclusion, impact, and visibility for women. And the women entrepreneurs are then given a voice, encouraging future generations to be even more audacious than the widow Clicquot was. So they have BOLD Awards, they have BOLD Conversations, which is conversation with other leading women in different industries. And I think the most important thing here, interesting, is they have a BOLD database, which allows female entrepreneurs to connect globally. And anyone can join that's a female entrepreneur. Interesting concept. Connecting audiences. I've also chosen Brunello Cucinelli, who represents a most notable brand. He has a firm understanding of his internal and external audiences and connects accordingly. As a result, he has a thriving, well-respected global brand that remains profitable despite the world's financial and political challenges. His connectivity goes across product categories. He has an amazingly high-quality product and is also a modern-day humanist brand with a focus on employee rights, community, and ethical life philosophy. Brunello launched his home products using a singular palette focus as a baseline derived from his clothing, extending the desire to live with Cucinelli. Connectivity can often represent growth. The form of authentic altruism is how new luxury is posed for connectivity, innovation, survival, and growth. Cucinelli connected his business successes across other categories by never wavering from his design language. This allowed his audiences to increasingly engage with his brand. Connectivity in design is a skill that allows you to see one image or item and transform it into a new product or category. So how can you adopt this skill into your marketing efforts? Example is this beautiful shoe, the Titanic shoe by Alexander McQueen. He thought of shipwrecks, bolts from a ship, tarnished metal, articulated heel, and preserved colored leather in ice cold water. And those words created this shoe in his mind. There's classic co-marketing and co-branding. So you now see Tiffany with the Fendi baguette, Heinz ketchup packaging now for lip gloss, Skims with Fendi, Balenciaga and Crocs, and Dyson Issey Miyake doing a limited edition of vacuum. Then you have shared audiences. So identify unrelated businesses with whom your products and price points resonate. In this case, this is a Scottish designer, haute couture in Scotland, who does these very outrageous sort of outfits. She also designed for the Queen of England, but they're coupled with an antique vest that was the inspiration for a chest. So sharing the same audiences is great. Exhibit in a gallery, whether you have art or accessories, partner with a gallery to exhibit relevant products with like-minded audiences. Again, this is sharing sort of a different way to share a database, if you will. Partner with a gallery to exhibit your product that complements their art, or ask us to do a photo shoot there. Do the same in showrooms and retail stores. I think visual 3D storytelling like these kinds of vignettes show how well they work together in a room setting versus this all too often, this area of our showroom has new products. Just look for the red dots on the tags. I'd much rather see how the new products perhaps integrated from the bestsellers of last season. And then demonstrate how adaptable your products are by placing them in settings or ads, using a stylist, a professional photographer to speak to your various audiences. So here you see one product, a cement chair and footstool that can go in many different arenas. You even might want to clock into health and wellness. Consider incorporating an outside area of expertise into your marketing. perhaps a medical professional. So we know from studies that a well-designed space can induce positive feelings and sensations such as a sense of calmness. It's conducive, to position interactions, can improve mental health and well-being. On the opposite spectrum, a poorly designed space can have a negative effect, such as feelings of anxiety and stress. So to wrap up this session, I'd like to share with you a video that Cartier did. I'm going to end the session with this video, which speaks to the brand's language and to its audience of affluent buyers, their elegant designs and quality of their products, and their global sourcing and materials is shown as a journey to ownership.
Cartier.
And that's what I'm going to share with you today.
That's terrific. Thank you so much, Rebecca. That was,
Oh, it's just fun putting it together.
it is stunning visually. So it's just such a pleasure to look at and such great information for all of our viewers. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Can we go back to the screen with your email address in case anyone has any questions for you?
Sure.
Okay. So you can reach Rebecca at rebecca@omagiostudio.com. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us today and for filling us in. It's been
Thank
wonderful to
you.
talk to you.
My pleasure. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions whatsoever. Happy to answer them.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.